Hello, good evening, and thanks so much for staying there for us on News at 10. My name is Bright Nanamfo. Tonight from now to 10:30, we're taking you through what's happening both on the local and on the international front. If you're watching us from the upper part of the country, the northern, upper east, and upper west regions, if you're with us from the Bono Afo region, if you're watching us from Greater Accra region, this is your show. But first, let's take a look at what's happening in news on this very network. First, the minority in parliament has accused President Akufo-Addo of inciting youth in mining communities against mining firms operating in such areas. The group was reacting to a statement by the president on the poor state of mining communities at the opening of the West African Mining Conference in Accra. The president said that mining companies should be blamed for the level of development in communities like Obuasi, Takwa, Prestea, and Akwitia. A 40-year-old father who defiled his two daughters, impregnating one of them, has been sentenced to 20 years imprisonment by a Sekondi High Court. And the news is that the Ghana Private Road Transport Union has announced a 10% increase in transport fares from Monday, June 4. The fares cover intra-city, that's Trotro, intercity long distance, as well as the taxi cabs that you have been using. For Monday, you pay some more 10% when you're traveling. The CID of the Ghana Police Service says it has not preferred any charges against the embattled GFA boss, Kwesi Yantechi, as is being peddled. Director General of CID DCOP, Mame Ya Tiwa Adodankwa, insisted the suspect has only been cautioned in accordance with investigative procedures. And of course, there is more news on 3news.com. Thanks so much for staying there. This is your show, News at 10. Let's start with a big one. And this is where we're starting from. Now, All Teachers Alliance Ghana, ATAC, has tasked government to see, as a matter of urgency, renew the collective bargaining agreement after it expired in December 31, 2012. The statement indicates described as surprising that NAT, which holds the bargaining power, had not updated teachers across the country on the progress of the event as they unfold. The statement indicates it seems government is much interested in providing teacher trainees allowances and rather overlooking the many aspirations that have engulfed the profession, ranging from meager salaries, poor retention, premium allowances. The group said the marginalization of the profession is obvious and there is little hope for teachers in the future. The group is therefore calling on the government to, in addition to bringing different policies and reforms, as a matter of urgency, make available conditions of service for teachers, which they believe will bring some sort of dignity in the profession. We're saying on this issue, my guest is the chairman of All Teachers Alliance, Isaac Ofori. Just joined me in the studio. Isaac, good evening. Grateful for your time. What
good evening, sir.
Is the problem with the collective bargaining agreement?
Thank you very much. I would like to take this opportunity to greet all teachers across the country, especially members of All Teachers Alliance Ghana, for placing faith in us that will be able to bring them the kind of reforms that they need in the teaching profession. When we talk about the teacher bargaining agreement, it is the agreement that binds us and the government in terms of our condition in the service. So when you read the previous agreement, all our conditions of service have been captured in.
Right.
Yeah. For instance, conditions like if you are a home economics teacher, you should be given a percentage of your gross at the end of the year. If you are a science teacher too, you should be given something. If you are posted to a remote area, you should be given something. And even our incremental jams over the years, like every September there should be an incremental jams just to cushion you as a teacher. Let's say we were put on level 16. Every year you have to go to step 1, step 2, step 3 until you are be promoted to a different rank. All of these things I've seen. We have seen that the government interest actually is on providing the teacher training allowances for them. But he is overlooking the
all
lighter
these
picture.
Conditions in the agreement,
the previous agreement,
you're suggesting or alleging have not been adhered to. Is that what you allege?
The agreement has expired. We are saying that should be renewed.
Since when?
2012, December 2012.
So between 2012 and now,
we have not had any information concerning our agreement again.
All the conditions in the agreement are not being adhered to.
Not because it has expired. It needs to be renewed.
Clarify this.
Yes, sir.
It has expired.
Yes, sir.
But are you receiving what is
we are not
due
receiving
you?
We are not receiving anything.
So between 2012 or 15,
yeah,
2012,
yes,
and 2018, as
yes,
we're talking now, some conditions in your agreement are not being adhered.
Yeah,
to
are not being met
because it is expired.
It has expired.
Not been renewed.
Yeah, it's only
okay.
Teachers are only living on the retention premium. You see, the retention premium is a percentage of your net.
Right.
Yeah, so you take home the retention premium. I think as at now it's around 14% or so, which is far way down when you compare it to other professions.
What is the problem with why between 2012 and now that agreement has not been renewed? What is the problem?
We cannot actually tell what has gone wrong.
Teachers do not know.
Yes, we don't have any update on it.
Is this for ATAC or NAT, NAGRAT, and perhaps all other teachers?
We are talking about all other teachers. We are talking about teachers across the country.
NAT, NAGRAT, ATAC, CCT,
all of us. We are talking about, in this case, we came out with this release, but we are speaking for every teacher across the country. We are saying that I think it is long overdue that some of these things have to be looked at very well.
And you do not know why there's delay in renewing?
We don't have any information on the ground.
You have not asked?
Not that we have not asked. Is it even, I think last year, 2017, the NATS secretary for Jumakon even alluded to the fact that the thing has expired and they are looking forward for the government to come and renew the agreement. So we as the union, as teacher unions, we have to push the government at this time and tell them, look, we are not actually satisfied with our salary. I believe that every service or every work, every profession has to get what we call a condition that binds it and its employer. So we are saying that, look, over the years, if you look at our pay, we pay rent, we pay utilities from the same meager salary. We don't get any other thing from if you posted a teacher to a village, he goes there, he goes to look for his own accommodation from the same salary that he receives. So we are saying that with the condition, I believe the government is bringing different reforms, policies. The teacher license is on the way coming. It's on the verge of being implemented. We just heard that the colleges, they are going around the colleges to making sure that the licenses take effect. So we are saying that with all these reforms coming into effect, the government must also see to it that our conditions, which will promote the quality that he's looking for,
are met.
Have
you drawn government's attention to this anomaly?
You see, we don't hold the bargaining power. Though we are a teacher union, NAT holds the bargaining power.
Has not done it.
We don't think NAT has put in any effort whatsoever. Because all the thing we hear, when you make an inquiry, they'll tell you that, oh, the government has its way, the teacher unions will have their say, the government will have its way. We think the government is not being fair with teachers in this case. Because during the run-up to the 2016 election, we heard the president actually promising that he's going to make sure that in promoting quality, teacher is not let out of the whole issue. So now we want the quality, but the teacher is not being, catered for the way.
What do we do from here? Now, ATAC, you do not hold the bargaining power.
Yes.
It is held by NAT.
Yes.
They need to draw government's attention to the anomaly. As you sit here, you cannot confirm whether NAT has done that or not. Now, how do we get government to know that teachers are demanding that these conditions are adhered to?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, it's not like NAT has done it. If NAT has done it, it will be out.
Are you saying that as a fact that NAT has not done it?
NAT has not done it.
You are assuming.
I'm not assuming. Because look, the previous one, when it was there, we knew about it. I hope you understand. When it got expired, they even talked about it. They were the first to come to the media and talk about it, that the thing has expired. Now they are waiting for the government to come and renew. So for how long are we going to wait for the government to come and renew our condition of service?
I see. What is the way forward? How do we get government informed about this anomaly, and how do we get it addressed?
What we want the government to understand is that, look, he's bringing different reforms, different policies, and it must correspond with the teacher, welfare and development. For instance, there should be a measure that will cater for our salaries and allowances. There should be a policy measure. There should also be a policy measure that will also cater for our condition. And even the prestige, or what do you call it? I don't know how to put it. I say, like the prestige. You see, every profession comes with a prestige. And people believe that if you are a teacher, like, people begin to look down upon you because of many desperations that have engulfed the profession. So we believe that there should be measures. As the government is bringing reforms, there should be additional measures. From here, we are not going to keep mute. We are going to sound the trumpet very high. We are going to tell the government that no, I think the time has come for teachers to be treated well going forward. Because if, let's say, bargaining power, NAT will sit down and say, oh, we are waiting for the government, once we know that teachers across the country, actually, based on their condition, if you go down there and you see how teachers are being treated, or what teachers go through, you realize that no, the profession is sinking. So we are asking the government, that, look, going forward, we want the government also to put down measures that will promote the best interest of the teacher. Because if you go to other countries, their teachers are being treated well. Even when I was coming, I was reading a policy in Europe, whereby they have done some, research about teachers and how they can promote their interest. And they are talking about teacher quality.
All right. I think I'm grateful. He's the president or the chairman of All Teachers Association of Ghana, Alliance of Ghana, All Teachers Alliance of Ghana, talking to me about this. Grateful for your time with us tonight. Let's step on the brakes. When we come back, we'll tell you the issue about Kelny GVJ will not go away today or tomorrow. The minority is demanding full disclosure of which companies were selected under the restrictive tendering process. Stay with us. We'll be back in a moment. Thanks so much for your time. Now, to some other issues, Communications Minister Ursula Ekufo-Owusu has stated that demands by civil society and Ghanaians on the directors and owners of Kelny GVG is distraction from the essential service they have been contracted to do on the common platform. Concerns have emerged on who the owners of the company to monitor revenue over calls and data of telecos is. Speaking to journalists, she noted Ghanaians will see them at the appropriate time.
All the allegations were made against the Ministry of Communications and the Ministry of Finance, and whether who is behind Kelny, for me, is a distraction. They will have been engaged to do a job. I would much rather they focus on doing that job. And if there are any issues, questions have been asked about the procurement process. They didn't engage in that process. We did. And so I thought that, rightfully so, we should answer those questions. The privacy concerns relate to the architecture, and we have project managers here who are overseeing this whole project, and I think they've adequately explained that. Trust me, at the appropriate time, you will see them. For now, if you want to, you can go to their website and get whatever information, and they do have a website, and I know that for a fact. They do have an office location. Like I said, it's in Labone, not Osu or Bobomemle. And as a lawyer, I know that when you register a company, they use an address for registration purposes. It may not be the actual location of the enterprise when it is set up. So that, for me, is a non-argument. So please, let's focus on the essentials: privacy, architecture, Has there been any corruption in this exercise? Absolutely not. And I take exception to those who've cast aspersions on my person in this regard. And I don't think that as public officials, we should just be used as punching bags and just be vilified like that. We are here to serve the nation, and we will do that to the best of our integrity. We're not saints, but we're not villains too. We're here to serve, and we'll do that to the best of our ability. What exactly about mobile money are we monitoring?
All right, and she says it's a distraction, and that at the appropriate time we will get to know who the owners or directors are. Let's stay on it and speak to the co-chair of Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Edem Senanu, just joining me. Edem, grateful for your time tonight.
Hello.
Hello, Edem, grateful. You have spent your night with us.
Hello.
All right, Edem Senanu is the co-chair of Citizens Movement Against Corruption. We'll try and to correct his phone lines and react to the minister's suggestion that asking for the directors and the owners of Kelny GVG is a distraction. At the appropriate time, we will get to know them. Let me once again check if Edem's line is better now. Edem, good evening and grateful for your time. Hello, Edem.
Hi.
All right, you can hear me now. The minister is simply saying that what is being asked for is a distraction, and that we should wait. At the appropriate time, we'll know who the owners or directors of Kelny GVG are. Is that appropriate?
Well, good evening to you. I think that given the huge public interest shown at this time and the concerns raised by Imani Ghana and other like-minded governance, civil society groups, I would like to impress on the minister that if that information is available, she should just kindly make it available to the citizens of Ghana. Yes, it may not seem as if, in her considered opinion, it is relevant at this point. This has raised so much concern in the public domain that it will be useful to quell some of the disquiet that we have as long as that information is available. I think it's important to impress upon her to just provide it to the public such that it does not become point of discussion and people are wondering why don't they want to make it available, etc. So yes, she's saying a right time. I think this would be a right time to make that information available.
I see. So you would have loved that perhaps tomorrow that information is released.
Yes, I would. I mean, to the extent that it's of public interest, there's been a lot of discussion over the last 2 weeks or so. Concerns have been raised. As long as it is not a substantive issue, which is what she seems to suggest, if the information is available, I think it should be made known so that it does not, as it were, detract from the substantive issues.
I see.
And it will just allow what is more important to be focused on. And so I think that, yes, if it is available, she should just make it available and make it easier for all of us to know that that is not an issue of concern.
The minority is also suggesting that this deal was brokered under a selective tendering process or restrictive tendering. And they are asking that the companies that were selected to take part in the selective or restrictive tendering process must be known. Under the procurement laws, is this a legitimate call to make?
I believe so. So that at this point where we are trying to make sure that nothing untoward has happened, that all the processes were followed as required, that the necessary due diligence was done, and that Ghanaians are obtaining value for money, and that we are not going to lose any further resources because other contractual relationships have not been dealt with appropriately. It would seem to me that every information that can be made available for the people of Ghana to have confidence that government is doing the right thing on behalf of the citizens, all of that information ought to be. And indeed, I think the procurement process would require that information is made available.
Sadam, I'm grateful for your time with us tonight. Adam Senanu there is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement against corruption there. There is more of this on 3news.com, but let's jump into some other issues. The minority in Parliament has accused President Akufo-Addo of inciting youth in mining communities against mining firms operating in such areas. The group says, the group was reacting to a statement by the president on the poor state of mining communities at the opening of the West African Mining Conference in Accra.
The president at the opening of the West African Mining Conference described as disgraceful the deplorable state of mining communities like Takwa, Obuasi and Prestea compared to Johannesburg in South Africa after decades of gold mining. But the minority says the president's comment is misplaced and has the tendency of inciting conflict between the youth and mining firms.
You hold the biggest responsibility to ensure that these communities develop. Don't deceive the people when you come. You will develop them, and then when you got the power, then you are now shifting blame to the international mining companies.
The minority spokesperson on Mines and Energy, Adams Mutawakilu, is of the view the president is shirking his responsibility to the mining firms, arguing he should rather ensure that royalties paid to the state are used to develop the communities. According to him, government gets royalties, dividends, corporate tax, income tax, surface rentals, and windfall tax. The MP for Damongo is also demanding explanations from government as to how dividend of some 3.6 billion cedis in mining royalties was disbursed.
If you receive 3.6 billion Ghana cedis and then goes to condemn them and make it as if they are responsible for the construction of the roads, the clinics, the water projects, I beg to differ. They do have a trust fund in which they vote money and use it for development. The responsibility lies on the government of the Republic of Ghana.
He also criticized government for not constituting the district mining committee boards expected to have an oversight responsibility on the use of royalties as per the Mineral Development Fund Act 2016.
So I want to put before the president, Mr. President, ensure that you immediately inaugurated the Mineral Development Fund Board to start work. 2, remove the capping and allow it to be the 20%. If possible, increase it to 30% for the good people of Ghana and the communities that are deplorable and you are complaining about to benefit.
40-year-old father who defiled his 2 daughters, impregnating one of them, has been sentenced to 20 years imprisonment by a secondary high court. Joshua Kwesi Mensah pleaded guilty to all 4 counts of unlawful child removal, incest, and defilement.
The judge, Rita Doku, advised the convict to work and look after the children after serving his sentence. A caution was also given to the mother of the victims not to leave her daughters in the care of any man again. Prosecuting, Elizabeth Addo told the court that Joshua Kweku Mensah started having sex with the daughters in Accra after separating with their mother. He then secretly brought them to the Western region where he continued with the act till the elder one, who is 14 years, became pregnant. The mother, Yafosua, upon a tip-off, rushed down to Daboase where her fears were confirmed, following which she made a report to the police for him to be arrested. Joshua Kweku Mensah was sentenced to 3 years for unlawful child removal, 3 years each for incest, and 20 years for defilement, all to run concurrently. Mother of the victim, Yafusua, expressed satisfaction after the ruling.
I agree with the judge. He did not treat the children well. It's unlawful. He has destroyed their lives. I will take care of them as instructed by the judge.
Papa Ijapabua is a member of the Western Regional Child Protection Team, a non-governmental organization.
In fact, I would say I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with the verdict, and believe that this will serve as a warning to the Bossy community, especially, so that when some of these things are happening, they should be able to report.
Of course, from the Western region. That's how we're wrapping up the show for tonight. But my cameraman in the studio, Christopher Sowa, Stephen Nete, other technical guys, Albert Mensah, Ben Mensah, James Tete, Theophilus Clotty, and of course, Hanel Adept, our production assistant. Brenda Dugan did the directing. The show was put together by Godfred Tanam. And of course, Richard Guslamte supported with the director. My name is Bright Nanafo. Have a great night. Stay right here on TV3. We'll have more coming up. Good night.